The milk in your fridge was still inside a cow about 2 days ago. In that time, it was chilled to near freezing, driven across a region in an insulated tank, heated and cooled in seconds, squeezed through openings finer than a hair, sealed into that carton, and refrigerated the entire way to your door. It looks so ordinary, a plain carton on a cold shelf. You barely glance at it. But almost nothing you buy moves faster or stays colder than this. Milk is one of the most perishable things in the whole grocery store, and the only reason it reaches you fresh is a race against the clock that starts the moment it leaves the animal. So let's follow it. From the cow all the way to the carton in your hand, step by step on the map. By the end, you will never look at that shelf the same way again. It begins in the milking parlor, and the clock starts the instant it does. On a modern dairy farm, cows are milked by machine, gently and quickly, 2 or 3 times a day. But the important part isn't the milking. It's what happens in the next few minutes. Fresh milk comes out of the cow warm, around body temperature, and warm milk is exactly what bacteria love. Left alone, it would spoil fast. So the milk never sits still. The moment it leaves the animal, it flows straight through cooled stainless steel pipes into a large refrigerated vessel called a bulk tank, where it is chilled almost immediately down toward about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, close to 4 degrees Celsius. That's just above freezing, and it has to happen quickly, usually within a couple of hours to keep the milk safe. From this point on, one rule governs the entire journey. The milk must stay cold. Every single step from here to your fridge is really just a series of cold rooms and cold vehicles handing it off to the next. An unbroken chain of refrigeration that can never break. Break it, even once, and the clock speeds up against you. That's the quiet drama of this whole story. It isn't distance, it's temperature. Within a day, a truck arrives. And it isn't an ordinary truck. Every day or so, a tanker pulls up to the farm to collect what's in that bulk tank. The trailer is a huge insulated stainless steel vessel, essentially a giant thermos on wheels, built to hold the milk near that same cold temperature for the whole drive without any refrigeration running. Before a single drop is loaded, a sample is taken and the milk is tested. Because if anything is wrong, it has to be caught now, before it mixes with everyone else's. Then the tanker does something clever. It doesn't carry one farm's milk. It drives a route, stopping at several dairies, pooling their milk together into one cold load. The same hub-and-spoke logic that moves almost everything at scale. A full tanker, not a half-empty one, is what keeps milk cheap. And it drives that load to a single destination. A place where the raw milk you could never safely drink is about to become the milk you can. The dairy processing plant. That handoff from farm tank to tanker to plant usually happens inside the first day. Half the clock, gone, and the milk hasn't changed at all yet. It's still just cold, raw milk. The transformation is next. Inside the plant, the milk meets the 2 machines that define it. And this is the beat that makes milk, milk. The first is pasteurization. The milk is pumped through a maze of thin stainless steel plates while hot water flows on the other side. And in that maze, it is heated fast, held for a set time, then cooled just as fast. The most common method heats it to at least 161 degrees Fahrenheit, about 72 degrees Celsius, and holds it there for only around 15 seconds. That's it. A quick, precise burst of heat. Those 15 seconds do the essential job. The heat is enough to kill the harmful bacteria that could make you sick and to knock back the ones that cause spoilage without cooking the milk or changing its character. It is the single step that turns raw milk into something safe and shelf-steady, and it is why the milk in your fridge lasts as long as it does. Then immediately, it's chilled straight back down toward that same cold temperature. The second machine is homogenization. Raw milk naturally separates, the fat rises and forms a layer of cream on top. To stop that, the milk is forced under enormous pressure through tiny openings, which shatter the fat into droplets so small they no longer float. They stay suspended evenly throughout the milk. That's why your carton is uniform from the first pour to the last and never separates into cream and water. Heated and cooled in seconds. Squeezed through openings finer than a hair. The same milk now transformed and ready to be sealed away. Now, the milk has to be captured fast and clean before anything can get back into it. From the homogenizer, the finished milk flows to the filling line, and this is where the frantic energy of the plant becomes visible. Cartons and jugs move along in a continuous stream, and machines form, fill, and seal them at a startling pace. Hundreds every minute in a closed and sanitary environment, so the milk you just made safe stays that way. Each container is filled to the exact volume, sealed shut and stamped with a code and a date. The little printed line you check without thinking about it. That date is a promise about the cold chain, an estimate of how long the milk stays good if, and only if, it's kept properly refrigerated the whole way to you. And the instant a carton is sealed, it doesn't go to a shelf. It goes straight into a cold room. The plant holds its finished milk in refrigerated storage, still near that same temperature it's been at since the farm, waiting for the last vehicles that will carry it out to the world. By now, the milk has been transformed and packaged, and we're roughly a day and a half in. Only the delivery is left. The last stretch is the one you might think is simple. It's really the part where the whole chain can still break. The sealed cartons are loaded into a refrigerated truck, a reefer, that holds them cold across the drive to the grocery store's distribution center, and then out to the store itself. There, they're moved, still cold, into the dairy case, the refrigerated shelf you pull your carton from. Notice that the milk is never allowed to warm up. Truck, warehouse, store cooler, all of it just a chain of cold boxes, each one handing the milk to the next without a gap. This is the part of the journey most in your hands. Everything upstream, the instant chill, the insulated tanker, the pasteurizing was built to protect these last hours. When you take the carton from the store cooler, carry it home, and put it in your fridge, you are the final link in a cold chain that is held, unbroken, since a cow was milked about 2 days ago. And that's the whole point. Milk doesn't reach you fresh because it traveled far. It reaches you fresh because, for roughly 48 hours, it was never once allowed to get warm. A cow, a cold tank, a tanker, a plant, a carton, a cold truck, and your fridge. So here's the whole journey, lit end to end. It started in a milking parlor, where warm milk was chilled to near freezing within minutes and held in a cold bulk tank. Within a day, an insulated tanker pooled it with other farms' milk and drove it to a processing plant. There it was pasteurized, a fast burst of heat to make it safe, and homogenized, squeezed under pressure so the cream never separates. It was sealed into a carton, date stamped, and kept cold. Then a refrigerated truck carried it to the store, into the dairy case, and finally home to your fridge. 2 days, one unbroken chain of cold, a race that a whole system runs, quietly, so a plain carton can sit on a shelf and simply be fresh. That's the pattern behind almost everything perishable in your life. It isn't the distance that's the miracle, it's the temperature, held without a single break. Next time you pour a glass, remember, that carton won a 2-day race against the clock and stayed cold every step of the way, just to reach you fresh. This is Veyor, where we trace how the modern world actually reaches you. Next time, we follow something that moves even faster and never touches a truck at all. How your paycheck reaches your account. The invisible journey your money takes between your employer and your bank. Subscribe, and we'll follow the next one together.